For Kilowatt 4 Delta, Terry, and just happy to see so many people out here, ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen and ladies, whatever order. Anyway, just want to, before we get going on the club, I want to give a big thank you to everyone who attended the Hamfest on Saturday. Henry will be talking about that more in detail. I want to thank you to all the people that helped and the vendors that came in. And it's a great venue, great improvement over last year. And one of the neat things, there was a young ham from China there Saturday, Kevin, BA4CW, and he wanted to be at the meeting tonight, but he could not. He was flying back to China this morning. And he works for RF Micro Devices. But he'll be back next October, I believe, and he's going to try to make it to the meeting. So really, really neat kid. Okay. I'm Alpha Kilowatt 4 Delta, and let's go around the room and introduce ourselves. And during this time, though, be patient because we're going to be giving out ballots for the elections tonight about the same time. So let's just be patient as we do this.
WK4CW.
Jason Lyons, KA4JRL.
Henry Heitman, W2DZO.
You want to give out
Melissa Hall, W4RHG.
Doc, WB4QIZ.
I'm Van, KC4WSK.
Okay, Woody, now you can go.
I'm Woody, KF4PLQ.
John, N0KTY.
Jack, KD4GYL.
Ted, K4TAG. Bill, W4EH.
Don, WS4NC, and if anybody has any, blame for me, he's the one responsible.
Charlie, W4TMR.
Gene, WB4MSG. Jim, W4UX.
Dale, WB9SL.
Neil, WB4LSS.
KB. Steve, W4KG.
Mike, N4BD.
George, N4RSC. Catherine, W4. Jim, WA4NOT.
Jerry, WA4ZKI.
Jeff, AC4YN.
Tim, AG4RZ.
Rich, KJ4FPF.
Ray, K4ZGV.
Dave, WA4MK.
I forgot. Bill, KD4JZ.
Kathy, KB4TKO.
Chris, KB4ND.
I think it's happened.
Mike, KJ4SYP.
Mike, KB4WJA.
John, W8LWX.
Ed, AS4XC.
Fred, WB4QXG.
Pat, Don's wife.
I'm Don, KT4KV.
Jerry, K4G Williams.
David, K4DBS. Judson, KG40HQ.
Doug, KJ4IGK.
John, KJ4UFG.
Just working on it. Ben, K4GHS.
Bob, K4KU.
David, KJ4OIL.
Stephen, KG4JWU.
Freeman, WX5AAA.
Is that it? Okay, there was a attendance sheet going around. Who people have signed it? Who has not?
Right here.
Okay. 3 important names during the introductions there. John, W8LWX, one of the candidates for president tonight. Tim King, sitting in the back there. The other candidate, AG4RZ. And Woody Kenny, who is chairman of the nomination committee, who will be taking over the meeting in just a little bit. Okay, Henry, turn the meeting over to you, treasurer's report.
Okay, very good.
On the Hamfest.
All right, well, turn this fancy thing on first here. First of all, I'll go with the treasurer's report, and it's not complete only because I have the numbers, but I didn't make the deposit today because the banks were closed, so that'll go in tomorrow. And if there's any other funds or anything for tonight, I'll put that in. We're currently sitting at a balance of $929.34 after the expense. All our expenses for the Hamfest were paid out. that included food and the rent for the space. I will be making a deposit tomorrow of $1,395, which will bring our balance to $2,324.84. And that was due to what we did Saturday. First of all, thank you very much to the dozens of people who came, not only Friday night, but Saturday morning. You know, it's no fun to get up at 5 o'clock and drive in and wait there, but boy, we even had people in the tailgate area waiting for us at 6. And I had over a dozen people at 6 a.m. to help. So I thank everybody who came out. I thank you if you came to the Hamfest. I thank you if you told somebody or you even came to help break tables down. We struck the Hamfest in 1 hour, and that was just amazing. So thank you on behalf of everybody. So here you go. It's a bunch of numbers. Bottom line is net revenue at the gate was a little over $1,000, and that's represented by 152 tickets that were sold. We sold 9 tables. I think we gave away 25 or something like that. Our deal with the tables is we don't charge our dealers and other organizations. We want them to come. We had the Charlotte Hamfest selling tickets to their Hamfest at our Hamfest, and as a result of that, we have tables available for us to go to their Hamfest to push our Hamfest. So a great networking arrangement happened, and that was because we just did the right thing there. We sold just under $200 in food. We had bought a lot more than we were going to have another group. If you were in on the Hamfest stuff, you knew that we had a basketball group coming in. There would have been a bunch more people there, and then they canceled. So, we have that material, and we'll be able to use that in January. So the rent was $150 for the event. Hot dogs, rolls, chips, candy, donuts, spent a little over $30. Croissants, $20.44. We sold 24 breakfast biscuits. We've never done that before, so that was a keeper. Coffee and soda, we spent close to $40. After all said and done, the net profit for this Hamfest was $804, which is a far cry from last year's event. It just, everything worked, and everybody helped, and I thank everybody for being a part of it. It was a great event. We got some great tips, and I'm trying to remember who told me. Somebody said we should have an ATM machine there. Who said that? Who would I have the conversation with? John. John said we need an ATM, and I'm already in the process of trying to find one to see what they cost. I think there's a minimum you have to have. Like we have to pump a bunch of money into it to make it worthwhile. But maybe we can all do that, and you know, we'll see. But anyway, so we got some other ideas too. It turned out we know what we're doing with parking. It worked great. I wish we could rebuild the whole building, like 50 feet more to the east, so you didn't have to walk so far. But that's what happens when you build buildings and don't think about parking. It happens a lot in the contracting world. So anyway, that's the story there. I did get some news from some of our dealers, one in particular, DBJ. If you're familiar with DBJ, they were with us this year, and they are coming to our June event. They couldn't do it this year. They went to another event, but they said they want in. So they're going to come to our June event and drive all the way up to DC for a show on Sunday. So
Are they coming to January as well?
Yeah, they'll be at January as well. So that's really great to hear. Any questions about the Hamfest? Anything that happened? You're looking for somebody who was wanted to know where the SNS Computers is. That's down on Hickory Tree and 150 in southern Winston-Salem. If you, yeah, they sold it now. So it's another guy in Ronaldo who's doing something. Any other questions, see me? Other than that, thanks again, and we'll make that deposit, and we're feeling really comfortable going into the new year. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Henry. Good report. Mr. Secretary, do you have minutes ready?
Yes, for the board meeting, 9/19 business meeting, excuse me. Those in attendance, there were 11 in attendance: Gary Brown, David Shove, Henry Heitman, Mike Atkins, John Kippy, Steve Marish, Bill Marish, myself, Raymond Tabor, Dan O'Leary, Woody King. Meeting's called to order at 7:25. treasurer's report was 1609 and change, about normal for this time of year. The upcoming Hamfest should increase this. As a side issue, we count on about $1,000 a year from all Hamfests to meet budgets. So October went really well toward that. Technical report, repeaters are up and running. 440 has a machine issue. I didn't get the note on that. 14664 suffers from intermod, but that's been normal since it went up there on the hospital. 14547 on standby controller. The new Kenwood repeater is in process. We have a delay from the dealer on that. Echolink is functioning well on both machines. We are processing a grant for new repeater equipment, and that is in progress. And hopefully we will get that, but we'll know next year. Elections, several requests have come in the secretary for proxy ballots. Proxy ballots close in the second week of September. By bylaws, Vice President, Secretary, and Treasurer will be suggested October meeting by acclamation since there's no one running against them. The request for John Steinbrenner, W8LWX, to have his presidential statement was opposed. However, final decision by the newsletter editor. The Secretary is instructed to provide secret ballots to be issued only to paid club members. Constitution and bylaws. Much discussion about changes to the Constitution and bylaws. These will be resolved by the Resolution Committee headed by Henry, WPBZO, and brought to the general membership next year. I've arranged for a lawyer to review these and assist the club with filing that. W4NC Live. Raymond is proceeding W4NC Live, which is on right now. Should be running the next FARC meeting. It's a long discussion about the particulars, how this process works. Bottom line is Raymond's on top of this. Thank you, Raymond. Programs for general club meetings. We've had a number of new hams over the past year, and thought it'd be great to give them an overview of how to benefit from the CQ Worldwide excitement without actually contesting. I've got a new DXpedition video in now, on its way then, and it will be in reserve when a presenter can't make it at the last minute. November is our homebrew show and tell. December is the banquet. No program set for 2012. There was some discussion about a number of programs, including weather radar and possibly scheduling the biannual weather spotter training again. We were looking into having some cell phone technical support as a possible program. Any program ideas, we're welcome to that. We're going to be brainstorming on that soon. October Hamfest. Final planning for the Hamfest. It's accomplished. I probably need to correct that because we had another meeting after that. June Hamfest was the first in the new summit location. Most of the kinks have been worked out. Long discussion. Decided to provide lunch food for 100, breakfast food, 24 donuts, and 24 Jimmy Dean sausage and egg croissants. Henry had a list of all those who'd signed up to participate, and there was a lot of discussion about that, but now it's essentially past news. Other discussion items, the Vagabonds, SCRA, Charlotte Hamfest had 3 tables. Melissa, who's here tonight, hi Melissa, reports media releases are either out or about to go out. Another Hamfest meeting will be likely before Hamfest. New business, it was suggested we look into acquiring a 440 antenna analyzer for members' use. No action was taken on that. FARC has a Facebook page which is looked after by Roger, KB6MTH. Adjournment was 9:02, length of the meeting 1 hour 37 minutes. We held a Hamfest committee meeting 10:05 that was held here at the Red Cross. Really there were no minutes taken, but we met here. There was 7 people that came to load materials from the shack and do the final planning, details, and food items. And tickets were prepared and handed over to John Kippy. Final list of materials. Some assignments were made. The signs were picked up. And after loading materials, we moved to Staley's for food.
Make a motion to accept the minutes as read.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Okay, VEC report and a repeater report.
Okay, VEC report, thanks to Steve W4KG, 9N0PTY, and Mike N4B for stepping in for the test today. We had, 2 people that attended, they had 0, they didn't have a license, one came out with a tech, the other one passed his tech in general, they couldn't stay for the meeting, so. They'll be on the air here, hopefully, fairly soon. Repeaters, keep it short, all 3 are up and running, and, Don pretty much outlined some of the plans, what we're looking at doing as far as that, trying to keep it short. Any questions? Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Aries report?
Yes, sir.
How's everybody doing this evening?
Well,
Good. I have a question for everyone. I want to know who in here is either a member of Aries or has an interest in Aries. Please raise your hand. Either one. Okay. On November the 5th, Saturday morning, from 10 a.m. until 12 p.m. in this room right here at the Red Cross, we're going to have an Aries meeting for our Area 9 Aries group. For those who's not familiar, North Carolina Aries is broken down into different areas, 1 through 15. Forsyth County is in Area 9, so we're going to have an Area 9 Aries meeting to discuss some different ideas between the groups, between the different counties and so forth. So anyone who is interested in coming to that, all are welcome to come. Anyone interested in Aries. And like I said, it's going to be a 2-hour meeting, and hopefully we can brainstorm and come up with some good ideas for our Aries program throughout the different counties in our area. The other thing I wanted to mention is how many people here are familiar with running digital modes, if you have some type of digital capabilities such as ham radio deluxe, FL Digi, PSK, those types of things. Okay. One of the things that we're going to do with our Aries group in the future is start focusing more on running digital modes. Reason being is that if we're ever in a deployment situation, there may have to be information that is passed that involves people's maybe names, locations, and what you would consider personal information. And a lot of the rules of the served agencies prohibit personal information from being transmitted over the airwaves. However, we can do it by digital modes. That would keep just from regular Joe out there with his, police scanner listening on our Aries frequency to be able to pick up a lot of this information. Unless you have the program and know what mode that we're running, then they won't be able to decipher the message. And it's not about encryption so much as it is about privacy. And it adds a layer of privacy to Aries operations. One thing that we are going to be experimenting with that we have found to work, back in our drill in April, we sent a message by MT63, 2000 hertz from the EOC downtown back here to the Red Cross, and the message was copied 100% through the repeater. So we want to start using that more and experimenting with that on our Aries nets. And our Aries nets are on Thursday evenings on the Sourtown repeater, 145.470 at 8:30 p.m. And eventually we will start coming up with different texts and so forth, ARRL bulletins that we can send by MT63, just to get people used to it and get feedback on how it works. And I will be sending out an email to those that are on the Aries list, a little bit more in detail about that and programs and so forth you can download. And of course, if you have any questions or want to know how to set anything up regarding your radios and so forth, we will be more than happy to help you do that. There's plenty of people out here who have knowledge in doing that to get your radio set up for running different types of digital capabilities. But the main thing I wanted to mention is the November 5th meeting. For anyone who wants to come, we'll be glad to have you come. We're just going to sit down and have some food and just discuss some different ideas about our Aries programs and within the different counties in the area. Yes, Steve.
What was the times again for the November 5th meeting?
It's November 5th from 10 a.m. until 12 p.m. And I got a call from our district emergency coordinator, Dal Williams. His call is W4YQY. He's out of Rockingham County. And he's in charge of the Area 9 Aries program. And he basically asked me if I would, be instrumental in helping him get these programs together and also finding ECs for the counties in our area that do not have ECs at this time. Stokes County does not have an EC, and Yadkin County does not have an EC. So if anyone here is in the meeting tonight that lives in Stokes or Rockingham County that has a vested interest in Aries, please contact me, and we'll be glad to give you the information that you need to know to become a EC in one of those counties. Yes, sir.
You mean Yadkin?
Yes, Yadkin.
Stokes and Yadkin.
Yes, Stokes and Yadkin. Stokes and Yadkin right now, those are the only 2 counties besides Caswell within our area that does not have an emergency coordinator. So, like I said, if anybody is in those areas or you're close to those areas and would like to, take on that position, then contact me and we'll be glad to give you the information. So, that's all I have. And if anyone has any questions, you can always contact me. My email address is simple. It's my call sign, which is WK4CW@ARRL.net. And like I said, I'll be sending out a email to the Aries members that I have on the list, those that have registered so far this year, and you can send a reply back as to your interest or any comments or questions or suggestions that you have about our program. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Earlier in the meeting, I mentioned Woody Kenny, who is chairman of the nominations committee. The other participants were John Kibbe, N0KTY, Phil Nunn, KD4JZZ, sitting in the back there. Eric Goin, just speaking to you, WK4CW, and Don Edwards, WS4NC. There's 3 candidates for positions tonight that are running unopposed. Jerry Miner for Vice President, K4GW. Secretary, Don Edwards, WS4NC. Don, raise your hand again. And for Treasurer, Henry Heitman, W2DZO. Earlier, Mr. Secretary mentioned that those 3 candidates, since they're unopposed, can be voted in by acclamation. Do I hear any motions to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Raise your hand. Aye. All those opposed? Okay, congratulations.
Push the easy button.
Or sympathy in your card.
No, I said to push the easy button.
Good luck with that one.
Okay, with that, I'm turning the program over to Mr. Kenny.
All right. If we could start with having John Steinberger come up and Tim King, we're going to give them both 3 minutes to speak, and when Tim gets up here.
We'll flip a coin and see who goes first.
We can do a tip-off.
Well, just to ask both of you, did anyone in particular want to be first or second, or you want to go by flip of a coin? Just go by flip of a coin.
You got an arm wrestle.
John, choose heads or tails.
Heads.
Okay. If heads comes up, you'll speak first. Okay. And Tim, since you're tails, if tails comes up first, you speak first.
I think I got it.
Like John.
That's it. This is democracy in action. All right.
It's ham radio. Ham radio's fun. That's the way it's supposed to be. So I have 3 minutes to talk, and sorry about the script, but if I don't have it, I'll go off. Are we ready?
And by the way, at 30 seconds, I'll let you know who that is.
Okay. Ready now?
Yeah.
You can rewatch it on the
Okay. So I'm not really asking for a vote. I'm more making an argument, and the argument goes like this. A, the more members the club has and the more welcome they feel, the better off the club is. B, there are lots of hams in this area that do not feel welcome in this club. And C, I don't think anyone ever sat down in this club and said, let's make a club that no one feels welcome in, or that a lot of people don't. So it's basically a PR problem. It's fixable. And D, even if you don't buy A, B, and C, then it still makes sense to make people feel as welcome as you can. I don't really have a dog in this fight, other than being a person who's passionate about process and transparency. The club has done all right by me. But if it's hard to get people to come to meetings, why make it twice as hard by having 2 meetings instead of 1 every month? If it's hard to get people to take an interest in the nuts and bolts of running the club, why do the dog and pony show at this meeting and the nuts and bolts at a different meeting? Why not use the dog and pony show to get people into the nuts and bolts? If it's hard to help people or get people to help or run for office, why make it hard for them to know what's being planned while it's happening? Why not make it easy? Why not put it in the newsletter and on the website, or do a weekly net? And if it's hard to get people to come up with new ideas, why not make sure that they know when they come here their ideas will be treated with respect and be considered? Now, about a year ago, I came to one of these meetings, and a longtime member of the club, 10-year member, he'd been in the parking lot at the Hamfest and you name it, made a proposal. Whether you think it was good or bad is irrelevant, but it had to do with buying a brick on Trade Street with the club's name on it. An officer of the club sat here with his back to that member while he spoke and his feet on the table, and what happened? Nothing. There was no vote taken. It wasn't tabled. Nothing happened to that member's proposal. So I didn't come to any more meetings until last month. That was the informal method of doing it. I tried the formal method last month, and it was even worse. So all I'll say is this the best way to run a ham radio club? Now, inside the house, things look good. People are happy, and that's the way it should be. I wouldn't want to change that. It's ham radio. But outside, the old lady across the street doesn't see that. She sees the same two guys taking out the trash every week and said, there's those awful men that never cut their grass. So if it looks shabby on the outside, people won't come in. The fix is easy. You trim the bushes, clean the windows, straighten out the old welcome mat. Anybody can do it. I don't have to be the one to do it. I just hope you all want to do it. So that's all. Thank you. Did I make it?
Oh, under time. All right, Mr. Tim.
That would be me.
Hang on a second. Let me bring this down to 3.
3 minutes, not hours.
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. I look across the room tonight and I see a lot of familiar faces. I see a lot of faces that I don't know that well. So I think the smart thing for me to do first off is to tell you who I am. Obviously, my name's Tim King. I've been a member of this club for 10 years. And this club has done a lot for me, and that's why I'm standing up here in front of you tonight. When I came to this club 10 years ago, I came through the website after I got licensed. The first contact that I had with anybody in the club was with Henry. I sent an email to the club, listed email address there on the web page, and Henry responded, and told him it was New Ham, just kind of learning about everything. And the first response I got from anybody in this club, like I said, was from Henry. And Henry's response was, here's my address, come to my house. And that was my first experience with the Forsyth Amateur Radio Club. I showed up at Henry's house on a Friday night at approximately 10 o'clock. Not the time that you would expect to have a visitor. Henry didn't turn me away. He was out in the shack, threw the door open, asked me to come in and have a seat, offered me a drink. We sat there and, I don't know, probably 12 o'clock, maybe 1. Don was there. We sat around talking all night, and it was just that was my introduction to amateur radio through this club. Throughout my 10 years with this club, every experience I've had with it has been the same. Anytime I've needed anything, people have jumped up. I've helped. As I look out across the crowd tonight, I can say that my life today is shaped greatly by members of this club. My wife is a direct result of my membership in this club. My son is a direct result of my membership in this club. In 10 years' time, I've missed one field day. I've given a lot to the club, and I hope to be able to continue to do that by being your president and pushing on with the tradition that has continued for over 75 years now of being one of the greatest clubs in the state of North Carolina. I've never, and maybe it's just because I'm fortunate, I've never heard anybody speak bad about W4NC, and I've been fortunate enough to travel all over the Southeast with another hobby of mine, flying model airplanes, and I've met a lot of amateur radio operators flying model airplanes. Jack knows what I'm talking about. And when I tell them what club I'm a member of, never heard anything bad come out of anybody's mouth. A lot of them know us from our contest operations. They know us from the shack. The hard work that's gone into maintaining a very effective repeater on top of Sourtown Mountain, and another nice local area coverage machine on Baptist. The relationships that we've worked hard as a club to develop with those sites to provide those services for you, the club members, and the rest of the amateurs in the area. And I'm just proud to be a part of that, and I just want to be able to continue that and serve you guys. So that pretty much sums it up.
By the way, I've asked 2 individuals here to do vote counting. If you would raise your hands later on. You know, if there's any questions of that, you know, let me know, we'll change it. But, I'm sorry? Yeah, I didn't give you much choice, did I? But, you know, I hope people vote with their heart. When we get a chance, we're gonna hand out ballots. Let's see.
Just have them start filing around.
Yeah, thing to do is file up here. We've got the ballots alphabetical by call sign. And I guess if we can start from the far wall.
Don?
Don.
If members of the club, we've got ballots with names on of members. If you just come on, file up around.
What is your call, Don?
KG4 KB.
KG4 KD.
And by the way, we got a box up front here, sealed, that you can drop your votes into.
Make sure, Carol.
Oh, by the way, when you finish marking your vote, tear off the top part of your ballot.
So yours is in the...
My dues are paid?
No, your dues are paid.
That way, at least you have a copy.
You got Henry's over there too.
Yeah.
Chronological. Okay, yours is K.
Here's the
Right here.
ballot.
Right here. Donna.
Here's the ballot.
Oh, okay, very good.
Good whiskey.
There you go. Tear off the one end and mark the president with, and then put it in the ballot box. K4 DBS. DBS. Again, tear off the top, mark it, and put it in the box. What you call it? A-F-4-C. Tear off the top.
Okay.
I closed up, I have all things quick. Pretty good.
Not always.
No, I haven't given him any ballots. I'm getting those out of the way. He was just trying to cheat.
Make your selection.
You're a lawyer.
KB4 WJA.
Hopefully some refreshments left in the back.
Here you go, Mike.
We'll reconvene the meeting.
KJ4, yes. I'll have that. You asked for help. You asked to help, and I'm not going to turn it down.
John's going to have you.
You can have 4 different people here on the top.
And what would your call be, sir? I'm doing fine.
She'll have yours, okay?
Tear off that and mark the ballot.
I've got ballots to KK4. Mark the ballot. Jeff? She'll have you. What's yours?
LSS.
Huh?
LSS. WD4.
My prefix is where we're going to start with.
That's true. There you go. Thank you. Yes, it is.
Battery's about to go dead.
Here you go, David.
Hopefully it's charged up.
Tear off the top, mark your selection, put it in the ballot. What's your prefix? Okay, what? KG, I got it. Tear off the top, mark your ballot, and put it in the bottom. What's your call, Jenny? Okay, I have yours over here. Switch places. Tear off the what's your call? What's your prefix?
Prefix KD.
NTC, that's your your original call sign. That's like a lifetime ago for you.
Mark, tear off the top, mark your ballot.
The Katrina.
Okay, what?
Daniel.
What you doing tonight? Recording everything?
Broadcasting it.
Broadcasting it?
Yes, sir.
Over the 2 meters?
No, on the internet.
On the internet?
Yes, sir. At W4NClive.com.
What are they hearing right now?
I'm sorry?
What are they hearing over the internet?
Us talking right now.
Are they really? Well,
Yes,
hello
sir.
to everybody. That's me. Very good.
There it is. Tear off the top, mark the ballot, and put it in the box. Yeah. Hey, Jenny, for you what?
Okay, anybody hasn't come up to get the ballot?
Is everybody? What is your prefix?
KD4.
Where is it on the internet? Where are you on the internet?
The website is W4NClive.com.
Okay, can anybody respond back to you?
Yes, sir.
How?
You can either send me an email or you can click on and join the chat room on the website.
What about a video? Can they get in by video?
Yes, sir. I'm also set up on Skype as well. Yes, sir. But I try not to. I'm set up for it, but I don't have anybody on there yet. But I only use them as a guest speaker, not as a. I can't hog up the bandwidth.
Can you tell who's on there now?
Only if you're logged in. Otherwise, it just says guest. And currently, there's only 2 guests.
2 guests.
Okay, tear off the
Do you know who they are?
Mark your ballot. What is it about?
You have to set up an account in order for me to identify it. One of the rules that I've got on there is if you don't have an account, I won't take your question.
Oh, okay.
On there, so yeah, you've got to be a registered user in order. I mean, I'll see it, but I won't ask the question unless they identify who they are.
Okay,
That's good.
There you go. Share off the top, mark your ballot.
What's that?
Yep. Mark your ballot.
Transition. Transition. 2 people online. I don't know who they are. Yes. I'm just glad I remember to press the forward. I forgot to do that. Like the first 15 seconds. I've got audio over here.
By the way, anybody else hasn't picked up their ballots? Because we're going to close off the balloting in just a minute.
Okay, everybody's voted. The 4 of us need to go in the room and away.
Okay, everyone has voted. Last chance.
Anybody else? Any more votes? No? Well, if I can get my helpers. I don't know where he went.
He sneaked out when no one was looking.
Or is he in the shade?
Mike Dan.
Oh, Mike's in the shade.
Mike's in there.
Okay. Sir, I present that to you. Thank you.
No more votes? Once, twice? It's gone.
Should I start?
He's ignoring you. Probably. And no, actually, he's probably
My first solo.
watching W4NCLive.com. You're watching W4NCLive.com.
There's like 100 of them. I'll talk about that. Okay.
When you call that thing, you know, go down and, you know,
You're watching W4NCLive.com. Say hi.
Hello. Hello, world.
You're watching W4NCLive.com. Hello, I'm Raymond WX5AAA. I'm the one who's controlling all this, and just say hi. Just give you an idea of what I'm doing here and how all this works. I'm actually using a laptop computer here, a MacBook, and just doing dual monitor. And as you can see, here is the control screen. We're going to do the mirror effect, sort of.
That's what started. I don't know what all that was about.
Anyway. So that's what we're doing here. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. And if you could pass the word along, I'd greatly appreciate it. Hope to use the help and the viewers. And see how this goes. Go back to the bumper here, and then hopefully we'll have the results here pretty soon.
They call back the section, and number for the section 7. And so I said, sure. They called me. He checked some through here and all that. So I found out this indeed. Yes, indeed, they did tell me to call it. Yes, indeed, I wasn't on the great antenna. They said, oh, it's yeah, well, and they escorted me back to the edge of the radar where the green line was, and said that way.
You're streaming, right? You're streaming.
Yes, sir.
Is anybody logged in to watch it?
There's 2 people, not logged in, but there's 2 people. Last I looked,
Where are they?
I don't know.
My son's doing the
No way to find out.
jamboree right
No, unfortunately not. You're watching W4NCLive.com. You're watching W4NCLive.com. Sorry.
Are you on the website?
Yes, sir. W4NCLive.com. W4NCLive.com.
Check him out. You got a Facebook too.
Yes, sir. Facebook, Twitter, SoundCloud. Yeah, thanks for liking it. I appreciate it. That's the word on
If you like it and support it, maybe it'll turn into something.
God, I need to come up with better bumpers. You're watching W4NCLive.com. You're watching W4NCLive.com.
see this being done.
Raymond, you getting any tables today?
I don't know. This is Jeff, AC4YN.
Yeah, there he is. Are you talking to anybody right now?
No, just you.
Oh, okay. Wow. High speed, low drag.
Awesome.
Yeah. You're going worldwide with this, or on the net with this? Okay. Anybody can link up if they want? I guess it would. Wow.
Looks like you spent big money on that.
Where'd you get this contraption right here?
Yeah, we were just talking about that.
Home Depot.
Oh, okay.
It works. That's all I got it for was for a stand.
Yeah. That's all it counts. Yeah.
What's your name?
Judson David.
David Show, K4 DBS.
They opened doors that Pride hangar. He taxied inside that Pride.
How long y'all been hams?
And I want you to know, you talk about
1974, I think.
I would say 10 years.
all the way around that Pride door.
I can't do
It took me about 2 weeks to figure out what was going on. But we had
Judson and I went to high school
flight
together, but we
simulators.
never
And
handled
then we
it.
had the NAV trainers in our building too.
And this SR-71 had just come back from Southeast Asia, loaded with about to get and they took the film off of those films and then took it over to the processing plant that the security police processed the film, brought it back to our tribes, and
anybody
they were about to get into the with their responding were actually looking at film from their targets and then making it
The last couple of films,
just as soon as they got out of their training, they loaded up the way they went to Southeast Asia to make a talk about
I've done a couple at the fairground.
having seen the actual terrain and so forth, and knowing exactly what targets they're looking for.
So that's where they were before they went to Summit.
But this SR-71,
that might work
back on stops from Southeast Asia. So did it like fueling.
I like it.
He made his camera.
Yeah, click on the live now.
Headed home. He was stationed up north. I think
Top right.
Or somewhere.
How much feedback are we going to get here?
See where it says live now?
Stop back to where we were.
Yep, there you go.
Off with the film. The next day, they rolled that thing out, fired it up, took off.
Thank you.
Every hour I was there, they
Broke it off.
I only got to speak to you briefly.
All right, we do have a. Thank you. Folks, thank you for participating in the vote. We do have a new president. The count was 43 to 11. Tim, you're our new president. And I'd like to thank you, both of you, for being involved. And I'd like to see more people get involved.
I was about to say the same thing. Thank you, both candidates, for doing this. I really appreciate that. Very, very healthy for the club. Okay, turn the program over to Henry, but first, any new business or old business?
Find the roster going around.
If you haven't signed the roster, please do so before you leave. And over here is a QSL card going to Raja across the big pond. Please sign that if you haven't. Okay, Henry?
All right, folks, I promise we're going to keep it short and sweet. I want to let everybody know that everything that you see tonight, both on the PowerPoint and on the sheets that I'll hand out, they're both available on the website. I'm glad I didn't tell you that a half hour ago, because then you would have left. But if there's anything here that you want, you can download it, have it, it's great. I'm going to start this, I'm going to call the talk CQ Worldwide Sideband Contest and the non-contest playing for the love of the game. And I'll start by saying, hello everybody, my name is Henry, and I'm a contester. Hey, Henry! Thank you, I've always wanted to do that. All right, contest. But I know that to be in HF contesting, you gotta have a little bit of crazy going on, and there's a lot of things that have to go into it. But in the last couple of years, I've really tuned into the folks that aren't really into the contest, and let's face it, it's their bands too. And there are a lot of weekends where there's some clashing. So what I said to myself, I said, okay, I'm going to design a little game and a little contest inside the contest for those who really don't have any interest in yelling the same thing over and over, but want to take advantage of the fact that there's over 330 countries on the air for 48 hours. And that's pretty cool. And with the technician license now offering 10 meters from 28.3 to 28.5 on sideband, it opens up a whole new opportunity for those who want to take that jump and have some fun doing it. I mean, it's no fun yelling into a mic or using a key if there's nobody on the other end. I'm here to tell you that the last weekend in October, there's going to be somebody on the other side. But we're going to approach this from the non-contest standpoint, which I think is good. The competitive objective is spend 48 hours on the air trying to contact as many other stations, country zones, possible using propagation analysis, extensive hobby-specific software, past performance data, multiple strategy, and logging software while transmitting as many as 20,000 times in one weekend, and to have fun. Let's look at it this way. Let's get on the air several times, work some new countries, and test out your station. Let's just do it that way, all right? Those of you who do this, you're going to have your fun, but there's a lot of fun to be had right here, and this is how we're going to do it. First of all, what you need to know. That's what you need to know to play CQ Worldwide. And I know there's some purists out there, but here's what this means. If you want to make a contactor on CQ Worldwide and you want to answer a T32 from Tokalu who's calling CQ contest, and you want that country, you're just going to call him with your call sign, and he's going to give you a 5932, the 59 being the standard 59, the signal report. If he's 52, he's 59. If he's 40 over, he's 59. That's just the way it works, okay? The old adage about, you hear the guy saying, you're 5'9", what's your call again? 5'9". That's the way it works. 05 is our zone. If you're in North Carolina, you're in the East Coast, that is the CQ zone. They've broken the country up into, or the world up into 40 different zones. So, your zone, if you're working from North Carolina, is 05, and you're giving 5905. Very simple. 5905. You're 5905. Thank you. Next guy. This is the zone map. And it does have some, it does some interesting things here. It breaks up the U.S. into three different zones there: Zone 5, Zone 4, and Zone 3.
Zone 1 is Zone 31.
Zone 1, yeah, you got Alaska up there, Zone 31, but those are considered different countries. Oh, there's some folks down in Puerto Rico who would love to say that, but they can't. But people who live in Alaska and live in Hawaii live in different countries according to CQ Worldwide and the CQ zone map. So that's the zone map. There's 40 total zones. And in the challenge that I'm going to give you out here in a little bit, for those of you who want to do it, I'm going to challenge you to work 20 of them in one weekend. Now, you could, in any band combination, you can work a bunch of stuff. I mean, if you work Chicago, it's one. You know, you work me in here, that's two. You know, you can add them up easily. I'm going to just talk about the basic elements. You don't have to have a logging program. If you're into it, you can get one. They're free. They're online. You can get RightLog. You can buy that. N1MM is free. CT is free. There's several others. I think there's a logging package in that ham. Gene, is there a logging contactless logger in Ham Radio Deluxe? Is that what it is? Yeah. Okay, so there's one there. Or a piece of paper and a pencil. For my non-contest contest, that's all you need. So if you don't want to get a piece of logging software, that's okay. You can get them for free, but if you just want to use a pad and pencil, you can do that. All right, before we begin, I used a different background here. All technicians can work sideband on 10 meters from 28.3 to 28.5. This is the weekend. If you want to get on HF, and you got your technician license, and you want to try HF, this is the weekend to do it. 10 is starting to perk back up. I listened to 4 or 5 stations in Africa at 10 over S9 today in 10 meters. It was amazing. And it's just going to get better between now and the contest, which is the end of the month. So if you want to do 10 meters, I saw 4 radios at the Hamfest for $50. I have one sitting on an old Radio Shack. If you want to take it home, just build a nice dipole. Don't blow it up. And I'll give it to you. You let you use it for the weekend. This is the weekend.
That's Henry's. What are you talking about?
This is the week. Yeah, I know, but you don't. He's got other things on his mind.
I know. I gave it to him.
So I just changed this so you see this is important. If you want to try, this is the weekend to try. You can work with 20 watts. You can work a dozen countries in an hour if the band's open. All right, your Friday night schedule for non-contesters. Go out to dinner, play with the kids, take the wife, the girlfriend, both, either one, take them out. If you're into the contest, you know that you have to be there because it's a nightmare, but you have to be there. If you're not into the contest, then forget about Friday night. Make the wife happy, all right? Because it's crazy, and you have, think about 10,000 stations with 200-foot towers and a lot of amp power screaming for the first 4 hours. It's really, I would say, just take Friday off. But if you want to hear it, it's kind of fun. And I kid you not, because, I mean, try it, but I don't want somebody to say, oh, I'm going to start at 8 o'clock, and they have their 10-meter dipole out on the tree, and they have their 10-meter radio, and they're spewing out 20 watts on 10 meters, and there's nobody there. You're not going to think the contesting thing is very fun. Saturday is where it gets fun. If you want to get up early, and you have a dipole, and it's anywhere close to the Northwest, you'll hear stations from Australia and the Pacific Rim on 40 and 80 meters. It's really cool to hear them. And they're really kind of loud, but nobody ever calls them then, unless you're a DXer. Unless you're into getting up and doing the DX thing, you'd be amazed. I remember the first time I said, you're in Australia? You sound like you're in Kernersville, on 40 meters. It was amazing. The gray line is something to learn about if you just want to try to hit some really, really neat contacts. All right? And that's to be on 20 meters, and that starts at sunrise. This is just something, for those of you who've never heard of it, the gray line is just an area, and I'll show you what it looks like. Along the gray line, which is the sunrise-sunset line that goes around the Earth, the absorption ability at sunset or at sunrise is very, very low. So signals tend to travel along that line of sunrise-sunset. It doesn't happen long, but when it happens, you hear some really weird things. And if you're just getting into it and trying to see what's going on, it would be fun to hear. That's a typical map of what a gray line looks like. So in this case, if somebody is in Alaska with a couple watts and a decent antenna, they could be working people in Madagascar. It won't last long because obviously everything ships. That URL right there is free. You can put that in your computer, and you can actually have that running while you're doing the contest. So you can listen and see when the gray line comes towards you, and you can start calling CQ. I've heard people call CQ gray line and get answers back. They're like, how am I working, China, on 15 meters? This never happens. Well, if you use the gray line, it does. So there's some free a free website there for you. So anyway, Saturday morning, listen for Australia. That's the fun thing. Gray line, and then 20 meters, then 15, then 10 meters will open up at the same time. Sadly, 20 and 15 usually open up about 4 minutes apart, and if you miss it, the whole band is filled up. It just happens that way. But you want to be on the highest band that's open. So go at 7 a.m. you get up. Forget all the other stuff. You turn on 20 meters. You hear people on 20. Ooh, this is pretty good. Go up to 15. Spin it around. If you don't hear any stations, then go back to 20. If you hear stations on 15, then start working them because that's going to be the highest frequency that you can be successful on at that point. 10 will open up, maybe. I've been in contests when we had 4 stations on 10 meters from my little shack in the backyard. And then I've been in contests where there's nothing at 10 meters. I went to Antigua, had a very, very successful contest 3 years ago. Didn't work one station on 10 meters at the best 10-meter station in the world. It didn't work one. Heard everybody else working them, I couldn't do it. So 10's squirrely, but when it happens, it happens. All right, so you got through Saturday, you're still sticking around. Wife still thinks you're okay down there. You're going to go to the lower bands. This, if you don't have a Yagi on 40, just a dipole. I have a dipole. I can work 80 and 40. All right? But the trick with this contest is all the big fancy contesters down in their DXpeditions in the Caribbean, they're all at 8 o'clock or 8 p.m. our time. They'll start calling CQ on the hour. So if you're interested in making a 160 contact and getting some zones and trying to hit the Caribbean with your 100 watts, and a simple wire, which you can do, on the hour is the time to listen. So there's a little tip for you. 160 and 80. Also, there's a fun little opportunity here if you're into 15 meters, and I know some of you have a lot of stuff on 15. About sunset, you point that thing towards Japan, and sometimes something won't happen, but lots of times it will happen. And I hear giggles around the room because there was a group of us watching this, and one worldwide, it happened, and we were running Japan at like a 100 rate for the last hour of the contest. It was unbelievable. It just happened.
Hey, Henry, like 2 weeks ago, the RIDI contest, I called it like that, and I worked 75 Japanese, China, and Taiwan on the RIDI.
Yep, in an hour. It's just one of those things. When it happens, it's cool. When it doesn't, you say, I've been lying. It'll happen. It'll happen. One of the nights it'll happen. All right, so get a little sleep. The hardcore people will be up all night, yelling into the microphone or using the voice gear. But you got some sleep. You're feeling good. Sunday morning, it's sort of the same thing as Saturday, except everybody's worked everybody pretty much. So there's going to be a lot of guys out there calling CQ, and nobody answered them. This is where you step in as the non-contester and wipe them all up. You can start at the bottom of the band and just go right up because they're all calling. Victor 26 Bravo, contest, Victor 26 Bravo, Ocean Hotel 2 Alpha. He'll be calling all the time, nobody answers because they've worked a lot of the stations already. But Sunday, 20 meters, civilization stands on its end. It is the scariest, weirdest thing you ever heard because it turns ugly. It turns ugly. Almost as ugly as if you step on an 80-meter net frequency on a Saturday night that you didn't mean to, and then everything blows up. This is sort of the same thing. Because there's so many stations trying to take advantage of 20 meters, which is generally a worldwide band, and you don't need a lot of power to be successful there. Everybody's lined up. And there's poor nets on there. Hey, we've been here for 2 hours. And the guy in Sweden really doesn't care. He can't hear you. So beware of turf battles. Sometimes you'll hear the big contest stations, like the big guys, like not us, the big guys, the multis, and they're jostling for 1 kc of space, and it's really weird to hear these normally gentle gentlemen turning into animals. I've been here for an hour. Your audio's terrible. Yeah, and it just goes on, and then they eventually stop and keep working. So 20 gets ugly in the afternoon. Football, all right, baseball, no problem. Shut the radio off if you don't want to do it, and deal with it later. Sunday afternoon, all those 10-meter operators, check 10 meters after lunch. Of course, 20 meters all day, 15 meters all day.
That gives you time to go to church.
Yeah, go to church. Thank you, John.
Pray for contacts.
Pray for openings. Yeah. At sunset again, listen for JAs and European stations begging on contacts all night. Please call us. Don Edwards has been our 160 guy for a long time, and this is where he is king. He'll get on there, and we don't have a huge 160 antenna. We have a sloper, but he can get in there and get these guys who just come up right at the top of the hour and pick them off. And that's it. It's over. You don't have to sit there with 2,000 contacts in your log, try to figure out who made mistakes, who was on the air when somebody logged something with a number out of a letter, all that stuff. CQWorldwide.com is the site where you can get the rules, get all sorts of things about the contest, even information about log submission. If you go out to play this thing, I'm not going to tell you you have to send a log in. They'd like to get your log, but if you don't feel like it, it's okay. If you want to put your 20, 30, or 50 contacts in, go for it. And there's a way you can do that if you don't have a logging program. It's actually an online template that you just type your contacts in, and then they'll send it in. And that'll help them match up your call sign with, in the database. They won't ding, they won't penalize a station that works you if you don't hand in your log. They call that a unique, and everybody has them, and they don't ding for that. But I'm going to start the challenge sheet going around the room. Take this if you want. If you're a hardcore contester, you don't need to take this, but if you want to just have some fun, I am giving prizes in the November meeting. There are things on here like work one station from each of the 6 continents. I even left Antarctica off. but they might be there. So you'll put the station, you'll write your name, call, work one station on each band. We'll be on all weekend. You could work us. And then you can get your credit. It's a Q-chain, right. Number 3, spot at least one station on a packet cluster. I give you the website on here, it's coming up. You can log in to the DX Summit or any number of them, and you can even try to spot a station. I'll be able to check it, confirm you did it, and I'll show you how to do that in November, because that's a lot of fun.
Spot us.
Spot us! Well, no. Don't do that. That crosses the line. Work 6 stations in 1 clock minute, and I even gave you a hint of how to do it, using your memories, okay? But try to run a 300 rate. So you can say, yeah, I ran a 300 rate in worldwide. Did it for 1 minute. That's all right. And that's a 300 rate if you work 6 in 1 minute. That's flying. I'm trying something that I think is kind of interesting. I heard somebody else doing this. It's the watt per mile challenge. I want you to try to work the furthest station you can with the least amount of power. Log it both, and then we're going to do a little ratio thing and see who's worked the best ratio of watts per mile. I want everybody to try, if you're interested in being successful with my non-contest or challenge, to work one station in split. And the only hint I give you is 40 meters. That's the only place you really need to do it. And it's very simple, and it'll kind of get you used to knowing how to that HF rig, how you use that second VFO. But it's shooting them in a barrel, and it's a lot of fun when you can work 30 countries in one call from the East Coast. We're in a good spot for Europe on 40 meters.
And most radios today will sit there. If you're using a logging software program, you can sit
do it automatically.
It'll do it automatically for you. It'll just do it.
But if you don't have the logging software, you can still dial up the other VFO. He's going to say Alpha Hotel 0 X-ray, listening 7210. You go to your VFO 7210 and call, and he'll call you right back on the East Coast. It's that good. So there's one more, and then I've asked you to try to work 20 zones in any combination of bands. You work 10 zones on 20, and 5 zones on 80, and 4 zones on 40. You got it. There will be prizes, and I'll start handing this out. Be honor code here. All right. So to wrap up, get you out of here. Again, with emphasis on the bands, 160 meters. If you want to try 160 on the hour after 8 o'clock through the night. Those are suggested frequencies. Frequencies can get wider than that, but this is probably pretty much where all the action is. On 80 meters, evenings through the night, best bet is between 3750 and 3800 simplex. Note, beware of the dreaded pig farmers guarding their coveted net and gab frequencies. They will make you miserable if they get your call. No, don't. If you call somebody and, hey, we're here, just go away. Just don't start, because they get your call and then they call you, send you emails, and you don't, there's plenty of other space. A lot of experience in that, so that's why I passed that on. 40 meters, evenings, best bet between 7150 and 7200 simplex, meaning straight on the frequency. But if you want to try some split, you'll listen down at the bottom and you transmit up. And you'd be surprised how many. That's one of my favorite parts of contesting is 40 meters, because it's a lot of fun if you have a good antenna. And of course the mornings, VK and KH6, KH6 being what country? KH6 being what country? Hawaii, thank you. And they sound like they're, in Tennessee for about an hour. It sounds great. They're loud and they're beefy, so try it.
Having been there for 4 years, it's fun to ignore the California kilowatts.
Oh, yeah. Trying to work the East Coast? Yeah. Again, with emphasis on the bands, 20 meters all day and night. Best bet is between 195 and 14.3. There are some folks that don't like you to contest above 14.3. CQ Worldwide, there are no rules. I mean, there's rules, but there's no set rule. But if you're not interested in having an argument, just stay below 300. It's a lot easier. Looking northeast is Europe. They say in real estate, location, location, location. In East Coast contesting, it's Europe, Europe, Europe. That's where all the stations are. 15 meters, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. is the best bet. 21.250 to 21.4. Try some JAs. And about 7 o'clock, look northwest and see if you can get into a run there. 10 meters, daylight hours between 28.3 and 28.5. Look northeast in the morning, and then in the afternoon, something really cool called trans-equatorial propagation starts. And that's when 7,000 South American stations come out of the woodworks, and they're all there for about an hour and a half, and it's a lot of fun if you can catch it. So you can be pointing northeast, you're going to work them. You can be pointing northwest, you're going to work them. You can point right at them and not hear them. You might point north and hear them better. It's just really weird. Propagation goes north-south, and you can get a lot of contacts down there. Other tips from the audience? Go.
There's a lot of little propagation openings that are very short, and there's one that I really love. It's on 15 meters or 20 meters, depending on how it's been open, and right around 4 p.m., plus or minus 10 minutes, Japan, and any Asian stations. And I've actually worked pileups. They're calling me, and I got to tell one because Dave Griffiths, he and I took 2 semesters of Japanese. I got like 6 words. So I can't really complain about anybody's language. But I'm working them just as fast as I can log them. And one, I hear one and I say, the Ladio station. And something in my brain says, that's not right. And it's Japan, America 1, Ladio Rima Alpha. And he was so proud of his English pronunciation. And it just absolutely caused a complete lockup in my brain trying to log that. But it's fun, and it's right around 4 p.m. And you only got a 10-minute window. But it's one of my favorite spots, and I look for it. Arigato.
This is just some of the websites I put at the end. The gray line thing, which is really neat to have running. Packet Cluster, you can log into the DX Summit, or if you're familiar, a little bit more familiar, w3lpl.net is a great FTP link. And you just put your call sign in, it says your name back, it says how you doing, and you can tailor it for whatever spots you want. And then a logging program, I just put one here, N1MM, because it's free, and you can add things onto it as you go. Questions? Comments?
Put that back up.
All right. By the way, if you go to the website, w4nc.com, you click on the Hamfest/member section. On the left side, it'll come to stuff about the Hamfest, which I put up for January now, and you'll see these 2 files. This entire PowerPoint file is there, so you can download it, and the contest challenge sheet I actually put there for download. If you have a problem, you don't have Word or something, or you don't use OpenOffice, just shoot me an email and I'll send you a text. Go ahead, Ben.
The only other piece of advice I can think of for the guys that've never done it before, maybe never even been on HF before, listen. Spend some time listening before you try to make that first contact, and get into the rhythm of the stations. You know, everybody's got their own style. When we as a group, as W4WS contest, we've got several friends that we've visited with over the years over the radio and in person. And you know, Victor 26 Bravo, that particular station, we can tell you which op is on the radio just by hearing it. And you just get into that rhythm. It's really important to catch that, because if you listen to how that operator's calling and who he's answering, you can really quickly jump in there, and instead of having to call 7 or 8 times, you may only call twice and he picks you up, and it's a little more satisfying that way. So spend some time listening before you key the first time, you'll be a lot more successful.
And the other thing is, we're going to do an operation CQ Worldwide. We're not going for big points. We're going to have the station available for throughout the weekend. Some of us can be here sometimes, other time. We're putting that together still. But if you want to come just hang out and see how that big old monstrosity plays, we'll have one station going with the amp and all, and get you in the hot seat and try your luck. We'll show you things. If very important, if you're a technician or you're a novice or even general, and we're in an extra portion of the band, as long as we have the control out, you may work it while we're there. That's okay. So here's a chance to kind of get the taste of it. It's really a lot of fun once you get into it. And if you don't like it, you work some stations. Somebody asked me, he said, "Can I come over worldwide and can I make a call with my call sign?" Yes, you can, no problem. We'll give you the rig, do it, But you'll log it in something else. But we'll have the logging software, we'll have the radios going, and we'll just kind of teach the whole routine if you're interested. And there's a dozen of us or so who are going to try to schedule our time throughout the weekend to try to keep it open as much as possible. possible for you. But it's your opportunity to use some of the stuff and get involved in it and have some fun with it without any pressure. Go ahead, Mike.
It'd be a big thing for a lot of new hands, but hey, I want to work this thing, but my main reason I want a QSL card. Maybe tell what's the best way to get a QSL card.
Well, most of these major stations will QSL you with an SASE. I know Log of the World is a big deal. A lot of the stations just avoid it because some of these stations make 10,000 contacts, 15,000 contacts in a weekend, and somebody's got to load that in. And some stations do it, but if you really want a card, my advice is always to an SASE to somebody at the station. Put their call sign in. QRZ will give you the information. If it's a DXpedition, it's usually like somebody in Tennessee that handles the cards. So it's not hard to do.
Have an envelope at the bureau. You will get QSL cards for 4 or 5 years.
Yep, absolutely.
Some of these guys do it for a living.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they do QSLs for a living.
For huge amounts. Go ahead,
South
Chris.
America. Day before is also a great time to get on, because people kind of set them up, and you can actually talk to them for a little bit longer. They're very, appreciative, just to make sure that everything's working.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, the DXpeditions especially, who are trying to get the generators going, and they'll talk to you for a while, and that was a lot of fun. When I only did it once, and it was a lot of fun that the day before, talking to a lot of you and hearing people just wanting to hear what we're doing. And well, I'm not contesting. I probably won't be able to work you tonight. Can I work you now? Yeah, sure. No problem. So yeah, Thursday night's great.
And one band higher than you think is open.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Call CQ if you want, but there's always somebody. Look, somebody's out there. If they're not talking and you're not talking, nobody's going to work. So you got to have to jump in. But yeah, the day before is great. The day of, like at noon, is really, really crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because everybody's in there jockeying for position and trying to save a frequency. The big boys save a frequency for like 3 hours. Poor soul who's got to do that job. He sits there and just calls CQ and just answers contacts. And then at 8 o'clock, the contest operator sits in there and holds that frequency. That's why you don't do it Friday night if you're really not into it, because it gets a little crazy. But it's a lot of fun.
Same thing with picking like wrong band like on Friday. If we're
on
10, go on 40.
Right.
And you'll find somebody there.
Yeah. There's always the DXpeditions are out there, and if you look up DXpedition, put DXpedition in Google. There's a couple websites that track them. So if it's one of those weird ones that you want to try to contact.
Most of them are in QSD as well.
Yeah, they're in QSD. If you get QSD, they're there. But the most up to date is this website. It's pretty cool. And it's usually guys like us who go rent a cabin in Bermuda and get on for Worldwide, and it's a lot of fun down there too. It's after 9. I'm done. Thank you, folks.
Three quick announcements, then we'll adjourn. Mike, sit down.
Sign Roger's QSL card.
Oh yes, that's one of them. Please sign Roger's QSL card. Put down 2 dates. November meeting, Monday the 14th of November. The topic will be homebrew. And then the annual meeting, Monday, 12 December at Buena Vista Grill, formerly the Big Shots Restaurant at 5 Points. And that'll be probably around 6 p.m. or so for the annual meeting in December. And always feel free to join us for the business meeting, which will be next Monday night at Big Shots at 7 o'clock. Do I hear a motion to it? Oh, any questions, any comments?
You're changing the location?
Did I say Big Shot?
You
Staley.
did.
I'm sorry. Staley. See, that got everybody's attention. Any questions, comments?
Make a motion that we adjourn.
Any second? This adjourn.